Bobby's breakdowns when knowledge grows, entertaining us all as the excitement flows. From films to wrestling, he's the pro.
What is up, everybody? It's your boy Bobby from Bobby's Breakdowns, and I'm not sure how I sound on camera right now. I might sound terrible. Sorry, I've come down with something, but here we are. We're still going to power through. We're still going to continue through with the Christmas content. And speaking of Christmas content, this brings me to my next movie review. This movie is almost 25 years old. It's crazy to think about. But we are going to be reviewing the live-action version of The Grinch. Yes, folks. Probably a movie that's up there for most people. So, with that being said, let's dive right in.
Can I use your finger for a second?
So, fun fact, it's been a few years since I've seen this movie. Just so many Christmas movies to watch every year, some you don't get around to, and that's partially why I wanted to review this. I said, it's been a few years, let me watch this again and see how it is. Still a pretty good movie. But we hear the narrator talking about Whoville and how festive it is around Christmas time. And then we meet Cindy Lou Who, the main female lead of this movie, the little girl. We'll get into what she grows up to be, and at this point, when we meet her, there are only 3 days till Christmas, so everyone's going crazy. They have a 99% off deal, and everyone's running through the store trying to get everything they need. And then we see Cindy's brothers going to the top of the mountain, because we know who lives up there. But they're afraid to knock on the door, and the Grinch knows they are there. But the guys are just trying to impress the girls, so you know how that goes. And eventually, they're about to knock, and the big monster head bursts through the door, and it's going crazy. They all jump off the top of the cliff, the mountain, and we just see Max barking into the head. And that's how they scare off the people. And in this moment, this is the first full look we get as Jim Carrey as the Grinch. And he looks awesome, but terrifying all at once. For 2000, he looked pretty good. But we find out the story of why the Grinch hates the Who's, hates Christmas from Cindy's dad. But then we hear the Grinch say, they want to get to know me, do they? They want to spend some quality time with the Grinch. He's like, well, I could use some social interaction. So he goes down there for the time being. He breaks into the store. He's giving out all the mail. But he's messing with the mail. He's giving everybody jury duty, blackmail, pink slip, chain letter. Jim Carrey kills it in this role. He was built for this role, if you ask me. And as he's doing that, he hears a noise, so he hides up top with Max. Cindy Lou's looking around. Cindy Lou doesn't hear anything until Max sneezes. And the Grinch goes tight. And that blows his cover. Cindy screams, the Grinch screams, and Grinch is like, oh, you're improperly packaged. And he wraps her up, sends her through the conveyor belt, and that's when the Grinch and Max leave. But not until Max convinces the Grinch to save Cindy by biting him on the butt, literally. My dog did that to my grandma once. I was upset I never got to see it. And I never got to see it again. Anyway, so we see the Grinch and Max head to the dump, and it's a bit of a wild ride. They hit the button, they go up, down, up, down, up, down. And then, as Max and the Grinch are waiting there, the garbage comes down. They're like, oh. And the Grinch is excited, and he goes, we'll come back from the rest. And by we, I mean you. And he's talking to Max. And he's like, one man's toxic sludge is another man's potpourri. So many iconic one-liners. So then we get back to the Grinch's lair. He checks the size of his heart. And he is absolutely thrilled that it's down a size and a half from where it normally was. Then we see Grinch do the iconic scene of him yelling at his Echo. And he goes, you're an idiot! And then the Echo yells back that he's an idiot, so the Echo won that battle. Then we go back down to Whoville and we see the Grinch's origin story about how he was born, then he got bullied, and then he made his way up to the top of Mount Crumpet, and why he hates everybody. And he was getting bullied by the current mayor of Whoville, so that's kind of wild. But so they're talking through the story, And eventually we just see the Grinch going. And the narrator says that he hated the Who's. And he pulls out the phone book and goes alphabetically. And he starts yelling who he hates, and he looks in the book and he goes, hate, 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 double hate, loathe entirely. That's probably one of my favorite scenes. But then we find out the Grinch was nominated for the Holiday Whoville Cheermeister, and Cindy Lou nominated. Because Cindy Lou wants to make friends with the Grinch. The mayor says we'll accept the nomination, but he's never going to come down. So Cindy Lou goes up there to Mount Crumpet to confront the Grinch, to tell him. And this is probably one of my favorite scenes from the movie. She goes up there. While she enters, he has his head in between the monkey and the drums, and it's bang, bang, bang. And eventually she says hi, and he just stops and he destroys the monkey. And the Grinch is trying to do everything he can to get this girl out of his lair. Eventually, he looks at the camera, breaking the fourth wall, and he goes, kids today, so desensitized by movies and television. One of the perfect lines. Grinch convinces Cindy that he's going down there, and she's like, really? And he goes, nah. He just pulls the conveyor belt and then sends her down back to Whoville. The Grinch is trying to figure out if he should go down there. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. But I'll be fashionably late. And then, in a scene that you couldn't do again if you tried, Jim Carrey walks over to his table that's full of stuff. Plates, glasses, whatever. Jim Carrey rips the tablecloth from under all of that. Everything was supposed to fall, but somehow everything stays on. So Jim Carrey walks away, and he comes back about 2 seconds later and just knocks out all of it, which was supposed to happen. And eventually he gets to the part where you can pull the conveyor belt, and it will send him down. So Max just pulls it and sends the Grinch down there. Makes the decision for him. That's a good dog. Grinch comes down, flies out, and everyone is terrified of him. And he looks, and everyone's like, and he just goes, and everyone's like, ah! And he's like, ooh. Tough crowd. So they go through the celebration. Grinch gets fed fudge, all kinds of things, cheese. They just keep feeding his face. And eventually we get to the presentation, and the Grinch keeps saying, he's like, I believe the child mentioned a check. And they're just like, there's no check. And he's like, right, whatever. So he opens the present, and it's a razor from the mayor. And he's like, oh, you can clean yourself up. That doesn't sit well with the Grinch. But for the moment, everything's calm. The mayor proceeds to give his girlfriend, Martha May, a new car. And she's into the Grinch more than she is him. But we'll get into that. And that causes the Grinch to lose his mind. He keys the car, scratches it with his nail. The chaos breaks out. He shaves the mayor's head right down the middle, and he goes, somebody's looking fabulous. And then the mayor looks at his guy and he goes, do something. And the guy just goes, okay. Shaves his head right down the middle too. Grinch then goes back up to his lair, and he's trying to figure out a way to really mess with the Who's. He is angry. But then he sees Max dancing to Christmas music, and he's like, are you having a holly jolly Christmas? And then he goes, wrongo, and throws him out. So Max lands, he picks up Max, and Max has like a beard, snow beard. And Grinch is looking at him, and he's like, you just gave me an idea. An awful idea. So he goes through the motions of getting it together, getting a sleigh, getting all that, getting all the things he needs to go out for the night. He watches Santa, and he says, fat boy should be finishing up any minute now. And then he goes, forgot about the reindeer. And then he looks at Max, and he tries to grab Max, and Max runs away at first. But Max can't get far. The Grinch is committed at this point. So in a pretty funny scene, the Grinch is directing Max. He takes the Christmas hat off, puts on a regular baseball cap. He puts the nose on Max, and he's like, all right, do something. Max just paws off the nose, and Grinch goes, brilliant! You reject your own nose, and something about Christmas commercialism. He goes, Why didn't I think of that? Cut, print, roll the camera. Or whatever he says. And at first I'm like, what? Okay, we'll get back to that in facts of the movie. So the Grinch does his thing. He steals Christmas. Grinch even steals the food at one point. And at one point he snaps... Thinking about it, this scene is hilarious. He snaps the turkey and he just goes, "Hut!" and snaps it like a football sider. So the Grinch pulls it off. He stole Christmas from Whoville. The Who's wake up. They're looking for their presents. They don't know what happened. They all come outside. They're like, "You got robbed too?" And they're just like, okay. But they take it a lot better than the Grinch expected. They said, well, we have each other, and they start singing, and the Grinch is like, "What? But I just stole Christmas from them." So Grinch, in the last moment, he's like, "I'm pushing this sleigh off the top of the cliff." And Cindy Lou is on top of the sled, and he's like, "Cindy!" And he starts to feel. The heart grows 3 sizes that day, and the Grinch is like, "Okay, you're doing it." And he realizes the Who's aren't that bad. He admits he loves Max, and Max tackles him and licks him, and he's like, "All right, that's enough. One step at a time." And they both get on the sleigh. They're coming down to deliver the presents back, and the Grinch is water skiing at one point with it. It's pretty funny. And they bring all the presents back. The mayor wants to know what happened. And the Grinch is like, "I stole Christmas." He's like, "If you want to put me in a chokehold, blind me with pepper spray, you can do it." And the mayor's like, "You should do it." And he goes, "I would do the pepper spray." The Grinch looks at him like, "What?" And the cop says, "Yeah, I heard him. He said he was sorry." And he goes, "Everything looks accounted for here anyway." So they start handing out all the gifts and all that. And then Martha finally comes clean, and she's like, "I have true feelings for the Grinch." And the Grinch is over the moon, to say the least. The final scenes of the movies are all the Who's, including the Grinch, holding hands and singing songs in the street. And then we go up to the Grinch's lair, where he hosted Christmas. Very nice ending. What did you guys think about the Grinch? If you haven't seen it yet, I would recommend you remove yourself from that rock you live under. It's a classic in my mind. Like I said, I don't watch it every year, but when I do, I'm like, yeah, this definitely hits for sure. I have about 4 movie facts for you, and then we'll get out of here. The scene where the Grinch is directing Max, that scene is Jim Carrey making fun of Ron Howard, the director of this film, his directing technique. And Ron Howard thought it was so hysterical. He's like, "Yeah, I'm going to leave that in there." Speaking of Ron Howard, he appreciated Jim Carrey putting on the suit and going through all that torture. So the one day he put on the suit to direct, and Jim Carrey didn't know it was him, and Jim Carrey got upset thinking it was a stunt double that looked absolutely nothing like him. Next up is the line, "6:30, dinner with me. I can't cancel that again." Jim Carrey improvised that one. We all know what Cindy Lou turned into. It's kind of crazy. I mean, she's doing good, but complete 180. Last but not least, Jim Carrey was terrified and felt terrible in that suit. He had to get torture-resistant techniques from a CIA agent who, helped him, be one with the suit. And he said eventually, by the end, he became a Zen master of that. So that's good, at least. But what did you guys think of The Grinch? Do you love it like I do? Because I do love it. But comment below what you think. And we got one more video coming this year, folks. One more. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. One more video this year, folks. You'll see me in streams, but video-wise, that's it. But until next time, I am Bobby from Bobby's Breakdowns, and we will see you in the next one. Later.
Bobby's Breakdowns.